Hello everybody, it's just Eamon519 here, and welcome to How to Team Build in Honkai Star Rail. Now this video will be primarily focused, or actually only focused, on HoM Memory of Chaos. What kind of mindset and train of thought did I have when I made my teams to fully 3-star every stage in HoM Memory, and to do the shit that I have done here in Memory of Chaos, right? How do I go about that? Also, a couple tips and tricks, some stuff that I have seen a lot of people do suboptimally or just straight up wrong while team building. And like positioning of characters, there's stuff that just people don't really think about until they're in the fight itself, and at that point it's too late. So let's first talk about the fastest example, right? Which also has a very big tip in it from me. So let's say you're fighting this enemy, right? Now the first thing you want to do is you want to click on the details of the enemy. We're going to be going more in depth on this type of stuff when we go to the next example where you have to bring 2 teams. But for now, for people who are still struggling on stages 1 to 10, this is especially for you. So in here you have to fight 2 bosses, right? So the first thing you do is you see which element are they both weak to. So in this case, they're both weak to physical and they're both weak to wind. Oof. I was putting some pressure on my arm right there with my entire body weight, and it didn't appreciate that. Fucking hell. But yeah, they're both weak to physical, they're both weak to wind. Now this is really good because it means that if you have a unit like Clara, she'll be really good. For wind, if you have a unit like Dan Heng, which is free to play, of course you have him, really good. Now another thing you of course want to note is element of quantum and imaginary. Imaginary, you either have wealth or you're fucked. It's just one of the two. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm gonna be honest here. You either have wealth or you're screwed. But on this, you could have Sela, you could have QQ, you could have Silver Wolf now, you know, so that's very nice. Now that you know what elements they are both weak to, you can proceed to make your team like the following. So here's what you want to do. You want to bring one of your strongest DPS, regardless of element, right? Now, outstanding DPSs are like very easily, they are Jingyuan and Sela. They are the 2 just insanely outstanding DPSs in the game right now, right? Now you have a couple 4-stars that can do really good numbers, like Xu Shang I think can do good numbers. Dan Heng can do some good numbers. QQ can do some good numbers here if you are really lucky with her consistently. Servo is a really good DPS as well, especially if the enemy's weak to lightning. I've used her a lot in my Hall of Memory runs to 3-star stuff back before Jinyu 1 came out. So yeah, those are very good options. So for me, it would be my Sela. I would put in Sela. That's my big DPS, the one that I built the most, the one that I know will do a ton of damage regardless of type advantage, right? Then you want to bring a character that, what's it called, is strong, like an element, right? To break the enemy, because when the enemy's broken, they take more damage, which is really good. So let's say not everybody's gonna have Clara, so we're gonna bring Dan Heng. Next up, after you got your 2 damage dealers, or your damage dealer and the person who's good at breaking enemy or whatever, you're gonna want to pick a support, most likely. Now this slot, this 3rd slot here, let's wait with the support, you have to pick a healer, right? Now there are ways that you can go around it, like for example with Japard, you don't really need a healer. If you can just get his ult off, you're usually fine. But you know, some people don't have everything fully built up, or only have some of their team built up, or don't have Japard built up, or they get unlucky and don't know how to manage his ult gauge. All kinds of stuff can happen. It's all stuff you will learn along the way. So for now, let's pick the safest answer, and let's pick Natasha. Now, you don't have Clara in this example, but Natasha is still a physical unit, so she can still put in work when she doesn't need to heal into breaking the enemy's guard. Now, last up, you want to bring utility. You can go one of 3 ways with this. You can bring a buffer. You can bring Ting Yun to buff your allies, Asta to buff your allies, you know. You can also bring debuffers. For example, Pela, who can debuff enemies' defense. Silver Wolf, who's just an insane debuffer, right? Then the next path you could go on is bring a shielder, which is either Japard or Flame MC. Now, a lot of people will probably use Flame MC because one, they are the strongest tank in the game, while Gepard brings more utility in the fact that Gepard can protect everybody. Flame MC can probably tank the most amount of damage himself compared to every other unit in the game, from my experience, right? If every unit in the game was equally well built on defense, I think just the damage reduction that he has is insane. Now, here comes one of the big tips. It's something I've seen a lot of people do wrong. It's not bad that you do it, but here is a thing to make your life easier. The position of your Fire MC. Your Fire MC inflicts taunt onto the enemy. What that means is that enemies who are inflicted by taunt can only target the MC. Now, there's two ways they can bypass this, technically three. The first one is if it doesn't proc, right? If the enemy has like taunt resistance or something, I don't know, and or effect resistance, and you somehow manage to miss your taunt. Very rarely happens, but I have seen it happen. Yes. Or maybe they're immune to it, I don't know. In that case, they can miss it. But the two more likely scenarios how they bypass taunt is if they get AoEs, which means that all your allies get hit, which means that taunt doesn't really matter. It still helps because his taunt ability gives everybody damage reduction and a little bit of a shield, right? But it doesn't make them specifically target him. The second way, and this is the important one, is adjacent attacks. Now, what do adjacent attack means? Adjacent attacks are what physical MCS, for example, where if the enemy were to hit Dunhung with an adjacent attack, it would also do some damage to Seela and Natasha, but not the Flame MC. Why? Because Flame MC is not directly adjacent to the character that's being targeted. Now, here comes where this is important. You want to always put your Flame MC or whatever character it is that has a high chance to get hit. Gepard has a high chance to get hit. Clara has a high chance to get hit upon upon using her ultimate. March can make it so that if she shields a unit, they have a higher chance to get hit. You know, that kind of stuff. Put whoever has that in the corner. Or taunt if you're Flame MC, who's just insane. The reason why is if you get hit with an adjacent attack, no one is on their right, so only one other person will get hit. This can save you some serious damage. If I were to put Flame MC in the center right here, he would taunt every time he would get hit by an adjacent attack. Both Natasha and Seela would take damage. What do I recommend? Well, in my case, I would put it like this. I know my Seela was my most well-built unit when I was still doing HoM memory. And I knew that she had the most HP, the most well-built, the most trades, the most everything, the most worked-up relics, everything basically. So I knew that if somebody besides Flame MC was able to take a hit, it would be her. So yeah, that's a little bit of a positioning tip, right? So try to make sure you remember to keep your weakest units, and so basically the units that cannot take a hit, to keep them away from the person that is trying to get all the hits towards them. Now, this is basically then how you would make that team. Now, obviously, instead of Seela, you could bring Jing Yuan. You could bring, Serval wouldn't really work here, whatever. But maybe Serval is your biggest DPS. Xu Sheng is really good for DPS. Yeah, that's kind of it as far as I know. But, yeah, that's how you could team build it for there. Now we're going to get to the difficult things. Now, for people who have not made it past stage 10 or even to stage 10, this is what is awaiting you at stage 11. You need to bring 2 teams. Now, in this case, it's a bit easier because each team only needs to take out 1 boss, not 2. You'll get to that point later. But it's still 2 whole teams. So what is the first thing you're going to do? Now, first thing you're going to do is you're going to open it up and you're going to look at what the exact weakness is of the boss. Not the being it's just the boss. So this guy is weak to physical, ice, and quantum. Now you might be saying, oh man, why are you clicking on him? It says right here what he is weak to. Yes, but later on when you're fighting multiple bosses or fighting a lot of mini enemies next to the main boss, the recommended type isn't always fully accurate. Because if the boss, for example, is not weak to imaginary, but he has like 5 minions that are all weak to imaginary, it will recommend that you bring imaginary. Even though you really don't care about being type advantage against the side units, you know, you want to take care of the boss. The side units are easy to take care of. So that's why I say, always double check by clicking on here to see what is he resistant to. Also, you can see this stuff. So he is fire resistant and burn resistant. So don't try to do that. I don't see a person that's reliant on that, but it's good to know. So this guy is weak to physical, ice, and quantum. This guy on the bottom is weak to fire, lightning, and quantum. Now, how would I personally do this? I would kind of do it this way. So, at the time, my strongest DPS were Sela and Serval. Jing Yuan hadn't released it at the time. I'm pretty sure, yeah, he was like a good while off at the time. So here's what we would do, right? Both of these enemies are, this enemy is weak to physical, this enemy is not. So we would put Sela, I would put like Clara in the corner, Sela, he's weak to ice, so I would probably bring Chapard. But you could also very well bring March to make sure that Clara gets more counters off. Very good choice. And I would probably bring Natasha. Right, probably Natasha right there. Or I would, instead of Natasha, I would bring Chapard. I don't know, like something along those lines, right? I would bring. But for now, I would bring Natasha there. And here we have fire and lightning. Now, I don't have any other quantum units really built up. Well, yeah, okay, I have Silver Wolf now, but like I'm trying to not speak too much from a perspective where everybody has every new 5-star in the game. So what you want to do here is take your second strong DPS. We talked about this before. You always want to have 2 super strong, well-built DPSs. Now, at the time for me, Jing Yuan wasn't out, so I used Serval. So we bring Serval in here. After Serval, you probably want to bring another lightning or fire units. I would probably bring Asta for the support. And because Asta is really good at breaking enemies, I would probably bring... I don't know, maybe Ting Yun. I would probably swap these two around then. Ting Yun, Serval, and then probably Flame MC. And as you can see, that's how you would build your team. I cannot stretch how important it is to make sure your strongest DPS are split, especially if you're trying to go for 3-star. Now, of course, you could, right? Hypothetically speaking, right? You could totally go for a team like, I'm gonna bring Chapard, Natasha, I don't know, March and Flame MC, and I'm just going to survive the shit out of whatever the enemy throw. You could, right? Let me not berate you on that. That's a very valid team. You would just have to make sure that you can do the second fight. But if you're like, man, I'm just gonna bring Ting Yun, Asta, Sela, and the Silver Wolf or whatever, and I'm going to just buff and the shit out of my Sela and debuff the shit out of the enemy, Branya or something as well. And I'm just going to make sure that Sela kills the enemy before he can even attack me. Be my guest. That's also a very valid strategy to do. Now, you guys have now a pretty good idea of how to team build here. If you have, of course, any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. But we eventually get to this issue. Oh no, not yet. Okay, so HoM memory, pretty doable, right? It's pretty doable. You might need to work up units, but that's fine, right? HoM memory kind of shows what you should be working on, because at some point you'll be like, damn, my DPS do more than enough damage, the rest of my team just fucking dies. Which I actually have with my Silver Wolf recently, where the rest of my team was doing fine, but one sec. The rest of my team was doing fine, but my Silver Wolf got like 2-shot. So I had to work up more than just their effect rate and all that. I also had to take like a link rope that was like defense percentage, right? That kind of stuff. Now we're going to get to what you guys have probably been waiting for. Some of you guys is Memory of Chaos. Now, Memory of Chaos is difficult, right? Let's get that up out of the way. Make sure to always give it a go, and like frequently every couple of days check if you've made a lot of progress or not, or maybe every day if you really want to. But let's head right into how the hell you would do this. So let's pick... No, this is not the difficult one. There was one where I had a really difficult time picking what I was going to... Yes! Oh no, wait, not this one either. Come on. Where is it? Yes. Okay, so here is the difficult one. Now, by this time, I had Jing Yuan, right? But I did not have Silver Wolf. Or did I? Man, I don't even remember. But besides the point. Here is the thing about this, right? You would think just bring Jing Yuan wherever lightning is relevant, and bring Sela wherever quantum is relevant. But this is one of those very difficult situations. And the main reason why is because lightning is... Wait, where is what I'm thinking of? There was this one stage that absolutely split me on which to bring where. This was it. There you go. It's stage 1. Hey, I was wondering where it was. So, one boss here is weak to Quantum. And the other boss on this stage is weak to Lightning. Okay, what's the other one? Same thing. One weak to Lightning, one weak to Quantum. So it was no longer as easy as just, oh, just bring Jingyu one in one team and Seela on the other. I would have to think a bit bigger than that. So here is what I would have done, right? Now, as you can see, the only other element that are both weak to is wind. Now, my Dan Heng is not built properly yet, so that wasn't happening. If we look here, they're both weak to physical. This means I could at least know, okay, I'm bringing Clara here. That's just out of the way. Clara is going to be a good DPS here. What would I do here? Here I would probably bring Seela and Tingyun. These two do enough damage together, or Seela with Tingyun support does enough damage together that I don't need to worry too much about this fight. However, I still want to be able to break the enemy. So you could go down one of two paths. I could bring Serval here, or you could do what I did. I would bring, hold on, let me sort it around. Asta, I would bring Tingyun, I would bring Seela, and then I would probably bring like Bailu, right? Now, of course, you could also just not bring her, not have her, and like bring like a shielder or something like that, right? And a healer, you could also do that. Whatever fits your account best, right? But let's just go with, where's Natasha? There we go. With this for now. Now, this stage is weak to physical, so we would bring Clara. We would also afterwards proceed to bring Jingyu 1, of course. Afterwards, we could bring Natasha for the heals, because Natasha is physical. And then you could probably bring like Flame MC or like Jabhard, because one of the fights is weak to ice. Something like that, right? But that's kind of the mentality you're gonna have to go with. Sometimes the two DPS shift builds just don't work out. Both fights have a weakness to one and then not to the other, and etc. Like you saw right here, both have a quantum weakness and a lightning weakness, quantum weakness and a lightning weakness. So you're just gonna have to be a little bit original with that. But that's where these kind of combinations come in. Tingyun and Seela are enough damage for me to not care about not having type advantage. And I still have a lightning unit in Tingyun and a fire unit in Asta to break through. Now, of course, you could also very easily just swap Asta for this. You would obviously have to swap these around. If I give you guys a tip, I of course have to listen to it myself. And this will work more than fine. Now, of course, I do understand not everybody has every 5-star in the game. You guys might have 5 stars that I don't have. I might have 5 stars that you don't have. Obviously, you can mix and match. Instead of this, I could probably bring Serval. I'm pretty sure I beat this the first time without Jingyu 1. Doubt he was there even at the time. Or maybe he was. He probably was, actually, yeah, by the time this reset. But when I beat it the last reset, I didn't have him. So you could bring this. You could also work up Xu Sheng and bring her instead for even more physical. But yeah, that's basically the train of thought you want to have with this. Another thing, right, that you could do, let's say you don't have Tingyun or your Tingyun is really fragile, bring Pela. Build her super defensively, right? Because the thing is, Tingyun needs to be, needs to have a good attack stat to actually provide the support. But she just automatically lowers enemies' defense by 30%. She does not need to have a high attack stat or whatever, right? So you can just build her defensively and it's fine. You really don't care for her damage too much, and removing debuffs is really not that big of a deal in today's gameplay yet. We'll probably get to it at a later point. So she's just another way to easily build up skill points by just spamming normals. Damn, I've never actually seen the animation of her. Right, so that's the type of stuff that you can do, and that's usually how I personally go about building teams and working my way through Memory of Chaos before the reset and all that kind of stuff. Now, I hope this video helped you. If you have any questions about it, make sure to let me know in the comment section down below. I do have my personal Discord, of course, that I use for streaming and YouTube content and just hanging out with people. So if you have any questions that are a bit bigger than that, you can feel free to find me in there. I've been your host, HoM519. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe for more Star Rail content. It's pretty dry season right now for me, but Like, also, by the way, for those who are already done with the video now, bye-bye. Thank you so much for joining on in. But for those who want to stick around for a little bit longer, a quick thing, I have been really busy with school stuff. I'm about to actually finish a project Sunday. Then upcoming Friday, I have an assessment where I have to talk about like what I learned. And yes, that gets graded. And the week after that, I have my final exam, and then I'm basically done. So I'm still kind of like working on that. But I have been trying to make more and more and more YouTube content as frequent as possible. The support has been absolutely insane. I want to thank you guys so much for that. But yeah, that's just a little life update on what's been going on. So yeah, how far have you guys come in Memory of Chaos? Do you guys enjoy the game mode? I personally love it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, I'll be yours, HoM and 519, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.